Something profound is happening in the world of coaching, a shift in perspective that challenges long-held beliefs. We're beginning to understand that the traditional methods might not be the most effective way to cultivate true athletic potential. For generations we believed greatness was built, brick by painstaking brick, through relentless practice and unwavering discipline. The mantra was simple: repetition, repetition, repetition. Through endless repetition, honing the same movements, refining the same techniques, striving for an elusive state of perfection. We thought that by ingraining these patterns, we were forging champions, drilling perfect technique until it became automatic. The goal was to eliminate errors, to create a flawless execution that could be replicated under any circumstance. But what if this model misunderstands how we actually learn? What if the pursuit of robotic precision is actually hindering our ability to adapt and excel? Rob Gray's How We Learn to Move invites us to rethink everything, to question the very foundations upon which we've built our coaching philosophies. It's a call to embrace a new paradigm, one that prioritizes adaptability and problem-solving over rigid adherence to form. Gray argues athletes aren't machines to be programmed, mere automatons to be molded into a predetermined shape. They are not robots that can be coded, but adaptive problem solvers, constantly interpreting and reacting to a dynamic and ever-changing environment. They are thinking, feeling individuals. The real goal isn't to stamp out variability, to force every athlete into the same mold, to stifle their individual creativity and intuition, but to help athletes find effective solutions in unpredictable environments. It's about empowering them to make smart decisions under pressure, to improvise and adapt on the fly. This shifts the coach's role, fundamentally altering the dynamic between instructor and athlete. From dictator of form, a rigid taskmaster demanding unwavering obedience and conformity, to designer of learning experiences, a facilitator who creates opportunities for athletes to explore, experiment, and discover their own unique solutions. Instead of barking commands, dictating every move, and stifling independent thought, coaches create challenges for athletes to solve, presenting them with realistic game scenarios that demand creativity, adaptability, and quick thinking. The core idea: skill isn't about repeating a perfect solution, a pre-programmed response to a specific stimulus, but adapting to new situations, constantly adjusting and refining your approach based on the ever-changing demands of the game. True expertise is the ability to adjust and thrive in the chaos of real competition, to remain calm and effective when everything around you is unpredictable and uncertain. It's about being a master of adaptation, not a slave to routine. For years, the prevailing wisdom in sports and skill acquisition was clear: perfect practice made perfect. The idea was deeply ingrained in coaching philosophies and training regimens across various disciplines. The focus was on eliminating imperfections through endless repetition, striving for a flawless execution of a specific technique. Coaches would meticulously correct every flaw, pushing athletes to replicate the ideal movement pattern over and over again. But Gray flips this entire concept on its head. He challenges the long-held belief that perfection is the ultimate aim. According to Gray, true skill isn't about robotic repetition, churning out the same movement ad infinitum. Instead, true skill is about adaptability, the capacity to adjust and thrive in unpredictable circumstances. The real world, whether it's a tennis court, a baseball field, or a basketball arena, is never the same twice. Conditions are constantly shifting, and the environment is always in flux. In the heat of competition, every play, every pitch, or every shot is unique, presenting a novel challenge that demands a flexible response. No two situations are ever exactly alike. Athletes trained only on one technique, those who have rigidly adhered to a single, perfect form, become surprisingly fragile when conditions change. They struggle to adapt, and their performance suffers. Instead of striving for this elusive perfection, Gray urges us to embrace variability in practice, to expose athletes to a wide range of scenarios and challenges. Each repetition, each practice drill should be a new problem to solve, a fresh opportunity to adapt and improvise. It shouldn't be a carbon copy of the previous one, mindlessly repeating the same movement without thought or intention. This approach builds functional variability, a diverse repertoire of skills and movement patterns that can be deployed in different situations. Athletes learn a family of solutions, a range of options to choose from, not just one rigid, inflexible technique. They become robust, resilient, and able to adapt on the fly, making split-second decisions and adjusting their movements in real time. The hallmark of expertise, therefore, isn't perfection, the flawless execution of a predetermined movement. It's the ability to adjust in real time, to improvise and adapt to the ever-changing demands of the situation. Ultimately, adaptability is the true goal of skill development, the key to unlocking peak performance and achieving lasting success. We talk about muscle memory, but muscles don't store skills, brains do. Skill is a system, the brain, body, and environment working together. A skilled athlete doesn't just repeat a memorized movement, they perceive, process, and act in real time. It's a conversation, seeing, interpreting, and moving all at once. The brain isn't running a fixed program, it's improvising, like a jazz musician. Experts adjust mid-swing or mid-throw because their system is built for adaptation. Coaches should stop drilling a single movement and start challenging the whole system. Practice should force the brain to perceive and solve new problems. We're not programming robots, we're nurturing adaptive problem solvers. True skill lives in the dynamic brain-body environment relationship. If adaptability is the goal, how do we build it? Enter the constraints-led approach. Coaches become architects of practice, shaping environments instead of giving step-by-step instructions. By manipulating constraints, task, environment, and individual, coaches guide athletes to discover solutions. Task constraints might change the rules or equipment to encourage new behaviors. Environmental constraints introduce real-world challenges like uneven surfaces or wind. Individual constraints account for each athlete's unique traits. The coach's job is to tweak boundaries, not dictate movements. This approach builds deeper, more lasting skill than simply shouting instructions. The best learning happens when athletes solve problems shaped by their environment. In the world of sports, success isn't just about physical prowess. It's about how athletes process information and react to it. Perception and action are inseparable. They form a continuous loop that dictates performance. What we see shapes what we do, and vice versa. Our visual input directly influences our actions, and our actions, in turn, refine our perception. This dynamic interplay is crucial for athletes. It allows them to adapt and excel in ever-changing environments. Athletes don't just observe passively, they are active participants in their environment, constantly gathering and interpreting information. They pick up subtle cues, often subconsciously, that guide their next move. These cues can be visual, auditory, or even tactile, and athletes learn to prioritize and respond to them effectively. For example, a receiver reads a defender's hips as an invitation to cut, anticipating the defender's movement and creating an opportunity for a catch. Similarly, a basketball player sees open space as a target, recognizing the opportunity to drive to the basket or create a passing lane. This loop: perceive, analyze, and anticipate. Act decisively and with precision, and perceive again. This continuous cycle drives skilled performance, allowing athletes to react instinctively and effectively to the demands of the game. Traditional drills that separate perception from action, focusing solely on rote memorization and isolated movements, miss the point entirely. They fail to replicate the dynamic and unpredictable nature of real competition. To train real skill, practice must couple perception and action, creating an environment where athletes are constantly challenged to process information and make decisions under pressure. Drills should force athletes to react to live cues, simulating the unpredictable nature of the game and requiring them to adapt their movements accordingly, not just repeat motions in a vacuum. The goal: make practice look and feel like the game, mirroring the intensity, unpredictability, and decision-making demands of real competition. By keeping perception and action linked, we train the whole system, developing not just physical skills, but also the cognitive abilities necessary for success. That's how athletes learn to read and respond in real time, making split-second decisions that can be the difference between victory and defeat. The old coach gave answers, the new coach designs problems. Instead of constant instructions, coaches create challenges that force athletes to discover solutions. This requires understanding the sport as a system of problems, not just techniques. For example, a 3-on-2 drill encourages a point guard to find the open teammate without being told, or lowering a volleyball net forces players to adjust their passing. Learning becomes implicit and embodied, not just intellectual. Athletes raised in this environment become more creative, autonomous, and engaged. They take ownership of their development, experimenting and refining skills. The coach sets the stage, introduces the challenge, and steps back. True learning happens when athletes solve problems, not when they follow orders. In the old model, mistakes were failures to be eliminated. This created fear and stifled growth. Gray reframes errors as essential feedback, Information, not failure. Every mistake is data about what works and what doesn't. Coaches should ask, what did you feel? What might you try next? Instead of, don't do that. The best learning happens at the edge of ability, where mistakes are common. If athletes never fail, the task is too easy and no learning occurs. Embracing mistakes creates resilient, creative problem solvers. The information to improve is found in the error itself. Rob Gray's ideas signal the future of coaching. The coach is no longer a drill sergeant, but a designer of learning environments. This role is more challenging, but far more rewarding. Athletes become adaptable, resilient, and intelligent decision makers. They understand not just how, but why, and can adjust on the fly. Teams trained this way become more cohesive and self-organizing. The coach's job is to create game-like chaos in practice and trust players to find solutions. This approach respects athletes' ability to learn and adapt. The path to expertise is messy, filled with experiments and errors. The coach of the future carries creativity, understanding, and a toolbox of constraints, not just a whistle.